Hello, this is a demo video about AP Econ and the chapter of the cost of production. In this chapter, we'll be answering a couple of questions. The first question is, what is a production function? And what is marginal product? And how those two are related. We'll be looking at what are the various costs, how are they related to each other and to the output. We'll also learn about how are costs different in the short run and in the long run. We'll be also learning about what are economies of scale. First, we'll be talking about total revenue, total cost, and profit. We assume that the firm's goal is to maximize profit. Profit is equal to total revenue minus total cost. Total revenue means the amount a firm receives from the sale of its output. And total cost is the market value of the inputs a firm uses in its production. Now we'll be looking at the production function. The production function shows the relationship between the quantity of inputs used to produce a good and the quantity of output of that good. It can be represented by a table, equation, or a graph. We'll be looking at the example of Farmer Jack and his story about growing wheat in his 5 acres of land and how many workers he hired to produce those wheat. In this example, L means the number of workers Jack hired, and Q is the bushels of wheat the workers produced. In this graph, we can see on the y-axis, it is the quantity of output, or the number of bushels of wheat. And on the x-axis, we can see that it is the number of workers Jack hired to produce this wheat. And as you can see, as the graph progresses, and the more workers Jack hired for his farm, we can see that the graph, although it starts steep, it ends up being more shallow. This is because of several reasons, as we will learn later on, but for now it is okay to know that this is because of several inefficiencies. Next, we'll be learning about marginal product. And in Jack's example, this means if Jack hires one more worker, his output rises by the marginal product of labor. The marginal product of any input is the increase in output arising from an additional unit of that input, holding all other inputs constant. A notation, delta, means the change in something or the variable next to it. An example would be delta Q, which means change in output Q, or quantity, and delta L is change in labor. We can calculate marginal product of labor, or MPL, by dividing delta Q by delta L. Continuing on the example we talked about, we can calculate total and marginal product of Farmer Jack. In this case, we can see that as Jack hired one worker from having no workers at all, we can see that delta L is 1 because the change is 1. And the one worker produces 1,000 wheat from 0 wheat. So delta Q, or change in Q, is 1,000. So MPL, or marginal product of labor, is delta Q over delta L. In this case is 1,000 over 1. Because the change of Q is 1,000 and change in L, or number of workers, is 1. So 1,000 over 1 is 1,000. And that is the MPL for the first level. And if you notice, as Jack tries to produce more wheat, marginal product of labor decreases. This is because, as I mentioned before, is due to several inefficiencies, but as of now, it is okay to understand that as Jack tries to produce more wheat, there are certain inefficiencies that tends to have the product less and less efficient as Jack tries to increase his total product. So that is the end of this demo video. I hope to see you soon in the class in the near future. Thank you for listening. Thank you.